Welcome everybody to In the Comics Dead Edition. And with me as always is David. You're not David.
No, I'm not.
No, this is Chad Perkins from the host of After Gotham, formerly the Gotham After Show. And we are on the new set of After Gotham. We got a nice little picture of Harley Quinn behind us. Chad sits over this direction when the show is on. This is the two shot where we usually have Dave and Corey. And
occasionally you.
And occasionally I was supposed to be on. I was trying to be on last week, but you know, things happen. So I'll be on soon. But so this is the show where we talk about After Gotham. Or you want to talk about After Gotham?
Yeah, let's talk about that. After Gotham.
So this is we talk about Fear the Walking Dead, and coming soon, The Walking Dead. Dave's out of town this week, enjoying a lovely vacation. So we had. Chad was gracious enough to come fill in for Dave, and we're going to talk about episode 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. This episode was called Cobalt.
Cobalt.
And now, before we get into kind of review of the show, I will say that we have both seen the finale.
Yes.
So my impression, my review, I'll try not to taint it with what I know about the finale, because it does change my opinion of this particular episode. But we'll try to just focus on this episode and what I knew, how I felt when I saw it. Okay, so this episode, Cobalt is a big mystery word. Just give me your initial thoughts on just give me a kind of, hey, I like this episode for what reason, and didn't like it for what reason.
Well, I liked it because I felt like it finally started to get us into the Walking Dead territory, where people are finally starting to do things that they would never have dreamed of in their previous life, we'll call it, even if maybe they had done things like that before, but in much different circumstances. Now they're doing it for their own safety. I'm talking about Daniel.
Yes, Daniel, very much so.
Yeah, torturing that guard to get, or the army. What is he? A private? I don't know.
I'm not sure what he is.
It's
it's Andy. That's Ophelia's. I guess I'm a little sketchy on the whole Ophelia Andy relationship, because it seems like she's using him a little bit to get information on where her mother went, things like that. So, you know, I'm not really sure what the there is, but yeah, Andy got. We saw a little darker side of Daniel. We are seeing a lot like The Walking Dead. We're seeing some of the darker characteristics of people come out. Now, my only problem with the episode, and I don't have a real big problem with it, but when I watched it, I was like, why is he torturing? Like, why did he go through with the torture? It seems like he loved, he liked Ophelia, whatever you want to say, whatever the relationship is. But he liked her. It seemed like he was more than willing to give the information up. So, yes, we understood more about who Daniel really is, or where he came from, because he gives a nice little monologue to Andy before he tortures him. But do you think that, did you feel like just in that moment, I have my own theory of why he did it now, but do you really think he needed to torture Andy to get that information on what Cobalt was, what Cobalt meant?
I feel like he did for Cobalt, because I remember him saying, I don't know, and then it turns out he did know. So I do think he needed to go to the extreme that he went to get because that was classified government information that he wasn't just going to give up, no matter how much he liked these people or not. So I do think to that point, because I actually thought, I was like, hey, this guy doesn't actually know, just to turn out that he actually did. So.
Right. But he starts the torture process with the question of where's my family? Right. Where's my wife? Right. And he was like, I'll tell you where your wife is. I know all that stuff. He's like, I don't care. Yeah. Well, take your skin off anyway. When I saw it, I was like, I don't think it's really necessary, other than the fact that, hey, we're just getting a darker side to Daniel. But I do think it had a point now that I've kind of reflected on it, is that I think he actually went through with it. Because, yeah, maybe he didn't, maybe he had to do it for Cobalt, what the code word Cobalt meant. But I do think he did it primarily because he wanted to see the character of Madison, Travis, all these other characters. Like, he had an ulterior motive. Like, I'm going to do this anyway, regardless, because I got to see how Madison reacts to it. I got to see how Travis reacts to it. Whose side are they on, or what lengths are they willing to go to do what they have to do. So that was kind of, it took me a while to ponder that, to even come up with that theory, because it's like,
Right.
You know, why was it done? I think there was an ulterior motive to Daniel's motivation, and that kind of plays. I get a little bit more. You get a little bit more in the finale to kind of reveal some things. So that's why I would say it's a little colored by what I've already seen. But let's move on to Travis. His storyline this time is I'm going out to find the hospital where Nick is and where Ophelia's mother is and all that stuff. I can't get his name straight. Because it's hard in 6 episodes to get really. That's the only thing about this, and Dave and I have talked about this before. How do you feel about this? I mean, do you think we've had enough time or enough storylines to really get a connection to these characters, like care about them if they were to die or something were to happen to whatever?
From this episode, not so much. Now, the next episode, like you said, we've already seen. There was an instance, which I won't talk about, but I was kind of like, oh no, you know.
Right.
So like, oh, I care about you now. You know, but up to episode 5, maybe not so much. I think it's more of, well, this is a main character. I bet they're not going to kill him off, type of thing. That's kind of that's more what you're thinking than, oh, I'm really invested emotionally in this character. I hope they make it, type of thing. So, yeah, it is tough.
So with Travis' story was Travis goes off to find, and he has to go off with the lieutenant. I don't know his name, and his whole military group. In a Humvee. The lieutenant's like, fine, I'm going to take you out there. I'm going to show you the dark side of things. And he sets him up for a couple different things. One is he stops off on the side of the road. There's a zombie, and way off in the distance, a big 50 caliber rifle on the truck. And he's like, you know what? You think this is so easy? You go ahead and fire the gun.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? Do you think the military was portrayed as still like the bad guys, or was it just kind of the lieutenant who was the bad guy not bad guy, but just, you know, the dupe, like the very, you know, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do regardless type of character?
Yeah, I feel it's very A Few Good Men. You know, you need me on that wall. You won't, you know.
Right.
Don't sleep under the blanket of freedom I provide, and then question the means. I'm just gonna do the whole monologue right now.
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, great movie.
Great monologue.
So I think the military isn't so much being portrayed as the bad guys, but the people who are willing to do and take whatever measures are needed to keep people safe. And sure, that might give you a complex, especially in a post-apocalyptic world, give you some feeling of entitlement. But I think at this point there's still structure of government and the army and so forth. So I think they're just trying to do their job. But I wasn't surprised that Travis wouldn't pull the trigger.
No, not at all. I mean, this episode just continues the thread of Travis isn't at that point yet. He's still soft. He's not willing to do what it takes.
He still thinks they're alive.
He still thinks there's hope.
People, yeah.
That's his thing. He still thinks there's hope. Hope. This world.
Hope's a dangerous thing. Hope will drive a man crazy. Now I'm doing Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
So.
And we got all kinds of. We'll work in some other movie reference at some point. We'll find a monologue and dump in there.
Yeah.
But it just shows, you know, Travis is, you know, he's still not at that point, which gets very frustrating in this world, obviously, because again, everything's happening very fast, and there's still a lot. I said last review that, you know, there's a lot of denial going on. Everyone's denying everything. There's nothing in the house over there. There's no flash. You didn't see anything. That didn't happen. You know, so there's still that whole thing going on. Not so much denial now, but still just like I'm not willing to cross that line.
Right.
And that was that. And then we get a new character, probably one of the most interesting characters and mysterious characters we've in any either The Walking Dead and or, you know, this new spinoff, Fear the Walking Dead. But we get. His first name is Victor Strand, but we know him as Mr. Strand. And he meets Nick in their little pseudo cell. But what did you think of his opening little back and forth with Doug? Doug, the guy who was kind of flipped out, a little crazy. Travis had to go help him. He disappeared the next day. He's in the cell with both Nick and Strand now. What do you think of that opening? Like just the way he just kind of basically Doug there.
I thought, well, hey, this is an interesting character. This is kind of out of the blue. And I loved his interaction with the guard and with the cufflinks and the watch and so forth, which pays off again in the next episode.
Yes.
But I was instantly like, this is a cool character. I like this guy. I hope he sticks around.
Yeah, he's interesting, mysterious, but what do you think he's meant? Why do you think he took care of Nick? Why do you think he needs Nick in his breakout from this prison? that he's trying to attempt. I mean, it seems kind of odd, doesn't it? Because he doesn't know Nick.
Right.
And Doug is there, and Doug's just a weak-minded character, so that's why Strand just...
Yeah, I have to think he said he needed him, but really it's just his humanity coming through. You know, he could have thought maybe he needs someone...
You think? 'Cause I don't think Strand has much
well, I don't know, that's
concern for anyone's humanity.
Initially, that's what I was kind of thinking / hoping.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're right. But from episode 5, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, yeah, we're staying on episode 5. Yeah.
Thinking, he's just saying that, but he wants, you know, he feels sorry for Nick. But
it seems like he has a plan. I mean, the guy's very, very well thought out. I mean, he's scheming, he plots, he has a whole plan ahead, and a very smooth character, and well-dressed. I mean, everybody else is like... We're getting to everybody's in shambles, dirty clothes and everything. He's like got his tie on still and his nice jacket and his cufflinks.
If he was in season 6 of Walking Dead, I think he would be a villain. I think he would be straight up.
Do you think he might turn out to be a villain still?
Governor. He might. Because as stuff continues to hit the fan, that can change someone and their ideology. And his is already kind of sketchy. Right. At best. So, yeah. I could see him becoming a villain. That's
why I think this episode here, again, I had a little problems with just sort of how we got to, again, with Daniel torturing, and then the whole thing with we have to show Travis again, not willing to pull the trigger. Yeah, kind of redundant at that point. But I did think this episode really kind of moved the show forward in the fact that what's great about The Walking Dead is that it's not, you know, the zombies are everyone's problem. But the real story gets going is when the people who are still alive are against each other, and you get the villains and the heroes in those scenarios, much like the Governor and or whatever you have in The Walking Dead. We start to see that here. Daniel, he's got potential as a hero and or a villain. You don't know. Strand is another one, very mysterious. He could be one of those guys as well. The characters from different factions are starting to get together, starting to form their bonds, who they can trust. Who's sketchy, new people coming in. So I do think that that really helps the show become the show I want it to be, versus everyone just kind of plotting through and getting to those points. Yeah. So I think this episode did a lot of that with these characters, especially when Ophelia finds out about Daniel and what he did to Andy. She's just... She can't believe anything about it, but one of the best moments in the show, I thought, actually, which really explained characterization, was Ophelia's mom is in the hospital. She's having the fever. She's kind of ranting and raving. She's speaking Spanish, but she's talking about the demon and the evil side of things and how they're about death and all this other stuff. No one can really understand. And Liza learns from the doctor in the hospital, the one she left with, Liza being Travis's ex-wife and Chris's mom. She learns, this is where we learn, or she learns, that we know that everyone's infected, everyone dies, doesn't matter how you die, you come back and you have to be basically brains blown out. And they have this big cattle punch, right? And why do you think it was so easy for Liza to be like, this woman finally, she succumbs to the virus? But I think all the things she was saying in Spanish had a lot to do with like who Daniel really is. Like she knew who Daniel was all along. She knew his dark past. And now on her deathbed, she's kind of asking for forgiveness for knowing this and that he's a bad person without saying it specifically. I thought that was kind of like that diatribe there she had. Why do you think it was so easy for Liza just to go, oh, let me do it? Poof. Not knowing that this is the first time she knew that was going to happen. Now, she'd seen it. It's been kind of in people's minds because it's still a new thing. Yeah. But she just kind of picked the thing up and was like, okay, I'll do it. Pow. I mean, not to that degree.
Right. Well, let me do it.
Yeah, exactly. But it seemed that a little bit that way. It was pretty easy for her, right?
I think it all goes along with her wanting to be a nurse or a doctor. Let me help. I can help people. I'm in this. I understand. I think it just all kind of rolled into that. Like, oh, okay, I get it. This is part of the job. This is what we have to do. I need to get one. And plus, like, I knew her. It should be me to do it. Right. So I think it was kind of a combination of those things where she was just like, okay. But it's good. It's good and refreshing to see someone like that early on in the show, where like in The Walking Dead, it usually
takes a long time. Yeah,
took a while. Like, no, this is a human, and and they would let them turn before they'd be like, oh crap.
Right.
So it's kind of. I thought it was good that she went ahead and did it, and we didn't have to have that moment where she was like,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah. So that was that. So overall, give me, as we do towards the end of the show here, just give me your rating, 1 to 5 stars on where you rate this particular episode.
I dug it, and I also liked the sequence of the 2 people whose names I can't remember, the daughter and the son in the house breaking stuff.
Alicia
and Chris doing all that, getting dressed up in these people's clothes, or they don't know where these people are, and doing kind of the zombie land,
right?
Taking out aggression. I like that part a lot.
None of this means anything anymore.
Right? Yeah. So I'd say overall, I'll give it a 4 to 5.
All right, I'm going to stick with my 3.5 on this one. Again, it's little things here and there that didn't kind of gel with me, but I still think it was a good episode. I think it definitely moved forward this episode a lot as far as what's going, because we know that now we know that cobalt is the code word for everybody bugging out. The military's getting out, evacuated, not taking anybody with them. But again, kind of my only problem with that was that do you really think that the military was going to protect these people, or that cobalt was just the key word they were going to use when they realized it was all worthless?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that, or
I do.
Were they really trying to protect those people, or was the plan all along to? Because I don't think they put all that effort into building the infirmary and then the kind of the cage cells and all that stuff, and then be like, you know what? We're just going to leave anyway. Just left to begin with.
Right.
So.
And I think cobalt was probably like their contingency plan. Like, we're going to try to do this, but if it just gets worse and over our heads and we're in danger, then we're cobalting. We're going to cobalt out of here.
Well, cobalt basically means you're screwed, because they're all screwed now. That's why the military's getting out. So next week, Dave will be back in I don't know where we'll be. Maybe standing up, maybe in a chair, maybe we can chat on too, and we'll do it because this is the finale, season finale. And I'll tell you what, we got a lot to talk about for season finale, because it was definitely worth watching for sure. If you're invested in the show, watch the season finale. But if in the meantime, check out Chad and Dave and Corey on After Gotham, 21 Network, 21network.com. Check that out. 21 Productions. Go to our YouTube page, all that stuff. Check it out. Follow Chad at Twitter.
Chad Perkins 21.
All right. Follow me at Director421, and be here next week. We will talk about the finale of Fear the Walking Dead and prepare ourselves for season 6 of The Walking Dead. Quickly,
what?
Excited about Walking Dead season 6?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, of course.
Of course. I gotta ask. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. We will see you next week.